Okay, so before the CO2 laser cutter build series begins, I thought it might be a good idea to do a little primer video, a little laser cutter 101, just so that we're all on the same page in terms of terminology and what we're going to be doing. Now I think that the easiest way to explain things is literally just to start at the beginning, and I'm going to talk about what a CO2 laser cutter is and how it works, and then that's going to get us onto what materials it can cut, and then we can talk about why you would possibly want to make your own and what we're going to be doing in the upcoming laser cutter build series. So what is a CO2 laser cutter? Well, it's not rocket surgery, but let's break it down a little bit. Now, a laser cutter generally refers to a machine that uses motors that are controlled by a computer to cut and engrave material using a laser beam. But I keep saying CO2 laser, and that's because I'm making a distinction between some of the different types of laser machines that are out there, which each produce a different type of laser with a different method. Some of the more common ones you might hear kicking around are a laser diode, a fiber laser, or a YAG laser. And each of those have their own pros and cons and their own specific uses. But we are interested in a carbon dioxide CO2 laser because they're really good generalists and provide good bang for your buck. Right, so how does it work? Well, the CO2 laser is produced in something called a CO2 laser tube, which looks a little something like this. It's a glass tube with gas sealed within, namely carbon dioxide and some nitrogen. High voltage electricity is passed through the tube, which excites the gas particles and produces an invisible beam of high power infrared light, also known as a laser beam. Now, if we have a look at my current laser machine, we can see the laser tube here in the back. The laser exits the end of the tube and is immediately bounced on the first mirror, down to the second, over to the third, down the head and through a focusing lens that's inside the nozzle and onto the workpiece. Now, the combination of forward and back and side to side movement lets the laser get bounced around in any position in 2D space, letting us cut and engrave in any shapes we need. So what can a CO2 laser cutter cut? Well, the material and the thickness that it can cut depends directly on the power of the laser tube and that focusing lens I mentioned. So let's tackle the lens thing first. The lens focuses the power of the laser beam down into a single point. If you've ever used a magnifying glass in the sun to burn holes in things as a kid, it's exactly the same principle. The distance between the lens and the focus point is called the focal length. Now, the further away from the focus point something is, the less power is going to be hitting it. So if we're trying to cut something reasonably thin, say like 1/4 inch or 6mm material, most of the laser's power can be focused into that. If we try to do a thicker material, say 12mm or 1/2 inch, a lot of that thickness is going to be out of focus, so the laser is going to struggle more to cut through it. So now onto the power thing. In general, a more powerful CO2 laser tube is going to be able to cut thicker material because it can compensate for that focusing limitation that I just spoke of by just throwing more power down into it. And with more power, you can cut harder materials as well. At the top end, CO2 lasers are powerful enough to cut through aluminium and steel plate. However, because of the huge costs involved in running a laser that big, you generally only see them in heavy industrial applications or manufacturing, which is a little outside of our budget. So before we go any further, let's clarify the scope of our project. We're going to be building a CO2 laser cutter that's going to be reasonable for a single person to be able to afford. Someone that can use it for kind of hobby activities or small business, which means we're going to be looking at CO2 lasers with a power range between 40 and 120 watts. This isn't enough power to cut through metals, but you can do a lot with it. So you can cut materials like wood, MDF, plywood, veneers, some types of plastics, foam, rubber, leather, fabric, paper, and cardboard. There's also a few materials that though the laser cannot cut, it can mark and engrave, and that's things like glass, stone, ceramic, and some metals. Now, putting aside all the potential awesomeness for being able to accurately and quickly cut, mark, and engrave all of those materials, let's talk about why you would possibly want to build your own laser cutter as opposed to just going out and buying one. Now, there are two main reasons, and you probably need to tick both these boxes in order for it to make sense to you. The first one is that you enjoy making things. Building a laser cutter, unsurprisingly, it's not going to be a walk in the park, and you will face challenges. If you're not prepared for those, probably just stop right here. If you're still with us, let's not beat around the bush. The second reason is money. Laser cutters are costly, delicate machines with heaps of components that can break, take years to develop, and have a relatively small market of potential buyers. Thus, they're really expensive. Building your own means that you can take control of that manufacturing responsibility so you can do it at a fraction of the cost. One of the big implications for me, and maybe you can tell this from my accent, is that I live in New Zealand, which is stupid far away from anywhere and has a tiny population. So shipping is a huge proportional cost to me. And that plays a huge role in the feasibility for me being able to just import a finished laser cutter as opposed to just shipping in kind of a bunch of small pieces to build it myself. This may not be as big a deal for you if you live in places like the US and Europe, but just know that the final cost of the laser cutter is going to be individual to you and your location. Now with that in mind, let's talk a little bit more about the laser cutter build series and the project going forward. Now the way this build is going to work is I've created a design that can be scaled larger or smaller depending on your own needs, space and budget. At the smaller end we're talking several $100s, at the larger end we're talking a couple of thousand. The one I'm going to be building is going to be somewhere in the middle. That way everyone can see what's going on and be able to apply it to their situation. These build series videos are going to be coming out in as close to real time as possible. That way you can see any kind of stumble points and hiccups that I have along the way and be able to get a really good feel for the project itself. Now at the end of the project, I'm going to combine all the information together into one document, full step-by-step guide, where to get the parts, how to assemble them, all the files you need, everything you need to complete your own laser cutter build. So if you're watching this in the future, all of that documentation probably already exists over on my website. If you're watching this in real time, you're just going to have to be a little patient and wait for the end of the project. With that said, episode 1 will be coming out soon. I've got parts starting to pile up in the garage here. You can't see them because they're out of frame, but I am super excited to begin the build. In episode 1, we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive on the design and begin construction of the frame. As always, any questions or comments, you drop them below, and I will see you next time.